used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
All right, good morning, SVG, and it is Thursday. Yes, a beautiful Thursday morning. One more day to go for those counting down. Not that you should be counting down because every day should be a beautiful day. But anyways, we are in today's edition of COP Chat, and we are looking at the topic. Today's topic is Voices of Survival, First Responders Accounts of Hurricane Beryl. And in studio with Christal, Dianna, and myself, we have Mr. Owen Isaacs, leading seaman of the SVG Coast Guard, as well as joining us via StreamYard, we have Mr. David Wright, Corporal of Police of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. So good morning to everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Physical studio and virtual studio.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so how y'all doing?
I'm pretty good for the day.
You're good. So Mr.
Yeah.
Isaacs is good. Mr. Wright, you'd have to unmute yourself.
Oopsie. Until he does that, the number to call is 457-9997 and also WhatsApp. It is interactive, so feel free to ask questions during the program, whatever comes to mind. You can also join us on
Good morning, everyone.
Facebook and YouTube. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning. And how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks.
All right, great. As well as joining us this morning is Miss Foxy Compton. I quite like that name. Miss Foxy Compton, and she is a nurse. All right, Miss Compton, are you hearing us? All right, so she would be joining us. Miss Compton? Hi, are you hearing us?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yay. So we have everybody here with us this morning. All right. So reminder that we are speaking on the topic of Voices of Survival, First Responders Accounts of Hurricane Beryl. So tell us, let's start with leading seaman Isaacs. What was your experience like with regards to Miss Compton? Are you stationed in Canada 1?
Yes, I am.
All right, so let's start with you first. What was your experience like during the passage of Hurricane Beryl?
Scary. Surprising. I think Beryl caught us off guard. We heard about Beryl coming and all of that, but I don't think that we were really prepared for it. So with all of that, it became scary. Sitting in your house or wherever you are and hearing the winds and the galvanized blowing, and yes, it was scary.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Wright and Isaacs, were either of you in the Grenadines at the time?
Yes, I was in Myra at the time.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was.
How was that?
Well,
And I am still in one.
Okay.
Yes, you know that you heard that a storm is coming, so you try to prepare as much as you can. But from what I experienced, I don't think anyone will ever be prepared for what I've experienced.
So describe it for us.
So, okay, before the storm, I had to take my auxiliaries officers who worked with me and said to go out and tell persons where the shelters are. You will take names and stuff like that, because a storm is coming and we don't know how it's going to be, how dangerous it's going to be. So they went out. We also have the GP, which is John Hutch, stationed at one of these shelters, and he was taking down names. So they're going around and asking everyone to make sure that they're at the shelters and stuff like that. And we'll go around, pull up all the boats on the beach, far up inland, and prepare for that.
And during the storm,
during the storm, right?
Well, during the storm, to be honest, what I saw, what the wind was doing,
Big man cry.
man, I was like, is this for real or is this a movie? Because you're hearing so many different songs. You're seeing you're seeing all the plywood. You're seeing buildings, roof just lifting up and just fly across. Nothing was actually touching the ground. Everything was just flying in the sky. And he was like saying, if someone is out there, there's no way they're gonna stand this. Yeah, you hear a storm is coming, but you can expect it will be so strong.
Okay.
was that your first experience? Isaacs, you can answer first, and then Miss Miss Compton, sorry. And then right.
Mr. Right.
Right. Go ahead, Isaacs. Was that your first experience?
It is for a hurricane, a category 3. Hurricane was my first experience. Actually, when Ivan passed, it hit mostly in Grenada. But because we're in southern Grenadines, you look at the tail of it. And I saw what it did. And maybe about 2 houses lost the roof in Mary at that time. So when I said to prepare for this storm, I was looking at something like Ivan. But trust me, it was completely different than Ivan.
All right, Mr. Wright, were you also in the Grenadines at that time?
Of course, I was on duty in Union.
Oh, so we have Cano and Mara and Union. All right. Okay.
Yep.
So tell us what your experience was like.
Well, honestly, let me first say I would have had some first-hand experiences with tropical storms and hurricanes before, but this was unlike anything that I would have ever experienced in all my life, both as a police and outside of being a police. Prior to the hurricane, thank God, the NEMO officials came down on island and they attempted to restart. Their purpose was to restart the Union Island NEMO emergency relief group. And so I attended that initial meeting, and they got things started because we were at the beginning of the hurricane season. Somehow, I think when they were discussing things, more interest was being paid on the effects of tsunami and its impact on small islands. And so they were speaking mostly about tsunami and its impact and so on, but yet at the back of our minds, telling us that the hurricane season had begun. And so the group was formed, and whether fortunately or unfortunately, within the very first month of the group functioning, here comes Hurricane Beryl approaching us. At first, when I heard about Beryl, I thought Beryl was literally going for the mainland. But as I tracked Beryl online and so on, and I listened to the weather forecast, overnight I heard Beryl took a turn southwards on approaching Barbados. And when I went online, I saw Ashton in its path, which is where the police station is located on Union Island. So I was literally seeing the village where I'm stationed in its direct path. So I told my subordinates there, because I'm the corporal, second in charge at this station. My sergeant was on leave. The rapid response unit, in preparing for the approach of the hurricane, they went out along with the president of the island response group, which is Staff Nurse Webb, and they went with blue horns to alert the islanders as to the approaching storm. And for those persons who needed to get out of their homes, to be in shelters, to do so immediately. There was a curfew that was sent out, stating that persons should be off the road by 7 p.m. Again, the Rapid Response Unit made several patrols to ensure that that was maintained. Went to bed as normal Monday night, hoping for the best. Got up Sunday night, got up Monday morning, and I was greeted by a shower of rain. So I thought this was Beryl, and it's gonna be nice and dandy. But then, lo and behold, when I was downstairs in the station office around 10:30 that morning, here came the first real impact of Beryl, which was the high winds. I don't know if Ellis Isaacs experienced those first set of winds on Myro, but
Yes.
when I saw that first set of wind, I was outside, and then I saw one of the abandoned houses not too far from the station. It just crumbled like nothing. It crumbled like dust. And so I went inside and we secured the station. And from there it was downwards. After the station went, okay, the power to the station went. I had to literally go and start the standby generator on the outside. Up to this day, wherever the standby generator is on the ground, it is still in a started position because Beryl kicked it off its stand and everything, and power went again. So it was just craziness, utter craziness. The building that the station occupies, it has a lot of windows. It has a lot of sliding windows, and you know how glass can be dangerous during a storm. And most of my guys were on the upstairs. But when the full impact of Beryl arrived, the windows started smashing. The windows started smashing as if it was nothing, right? And everybody had to run downstairs. We ended up, I was downstairs and I was securing my computers, my records, and all of those important stuff that I needed at the end of the storm to have some semblance of normalcy for the station to continue, right? After securing those, there wasn't any place in the station, whether upstairs or downstairs, left for us to run to more than the bathroom in one of the master rooms downstairs, which is occupied by one of the fire officers. It was 9 of us in all, sheltering in that bathroom area. And to describe the roar of Beryl, I'm telling you, you will not wish that on your worst enemy.
Yeah.
I think that would be the sentiments of my other 2 participants. You will not wish that experience on your worst enemy.
True.
For those of us who fly on a regular basis in those jets that take us to about 30,000 feet, and then the pressure on our air, you will have to do certain things, whether to chew gum or to blow your nose, hold your nostril and blow to equalize the pressure. I was on the ground, but it was like if I was in 30,000 feet.
That's so true.
Because that was how high the pressure was, and it was hot, especially when the eye of Beryl passed. It was just a small eye because it didn't last it didn't last any length of time. You could not even get to go outside. Normally, people would get to go outside in the eye. But the eye was so small that the wind was so strong in there that you dare not go outside for fear of damage. That's where I'll stop for now. I'll allow my other participants to give their experience.
All right. So take us through directly after, because you've spoken about what happened during, but directly after. How quickly were you able to, I suppose, to reorient yourself mentally in terms of after facing what it is that you would have gone through? And then, because the thing of it is that you all have different professional capacities, but you also have to deal with your own personal challenges. So how were you able to manage that professional obligation that you have, as well as your own personal challenges?
Let's start with
Anyone can
Compton.
start.
Let's start with Compton.
Ms. Compton?
All right. The challenge is after. Yes. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good.
All right. So the challenge is after. Well, by the time Beryl decided that it was finished and you get a chance to come outside, you are faced with the devastation.
All right, so Ms. Compton is frozen for a moment. So, Isaac, you could probably take the lead until she returns.
Yes. As Ms. Compton said, as soon as
Are we
Beryl
there
finished-
still?
Okay, we are.
All
Yes.
right. All right. So you are faced with the devastation. What I was seeing from inside are the galvanized flying and the tanks flying across and the poles falling down, and it literally stripped the shoreline of all the trees. So now you can see the seawater as if it's right there. But when you come outside, like when it's give you a chance to come outside and you come outside and you see the devastation, the first thing that came to my mind was that Beryl is a galvanized hurricane, because there was galvanized everywhere. There were tanks and drums and everywhere. There were poles down across the road. What Beryl couldn't uproot, it broke in two, threw half on somebody's house. It was terrible. Yeah, but we took the time and we had people's little restaurant in the street and all of that. But I must say thanks to Mr. Charles Samuel from Vinlek, because even from before Beryl, he has been going around asking people to, just prepare for this. Been literally telling people that if you don't move, I'm going to come back and drag you out. And it's a good thing, because all of these people that he went to, their house, some of them still can't see pieces of their houses. And then it became sad and heart-wrenching to just look at the devastation. And then you are now thinking as a nurse, okay, who got injured? What are we going to do? The clinic got some minor damage. From the rain, it was flooding, so we can't go in there. But thank God, Savna Spear would have already prepared. And so we dealt with whatever emergencies would have come, the cut and all those little things that from her house. God be praised, from her house. But then the mental effect, there are still people right now, if they hear a galvanized shake, they just panic up. If they hear the wind increase a bit, it disturbs them. And so we are looking at the long run. We need to have counseling and on all those things for a lot of people on these islands. So we are still picking up the pieces, still have a long way to go, but praise be to God, we're going to get there. One of these days, we're going to get there. Yeah.
Okay. Isaac?
Yes. As what Ms. Foxy said, during the storm, well, I would say I'm in charge of an island myself, me and 3 auxiliary officers. I've been working in Myro for the past 17 years. I'm originally from Myro. So I'll be the first responder along with the nurse as well. So when Beryl...
Before you proceed, what's the population of Myro like though?
It's about 318.
Okay.
318. So I was there with my family in my house. And I was looking at the wind, just blowing. The Gavin start flying. These songs just making, and it's like, what is happening? What are we gonna do? And as soon as everything eased off, just a little bit of the wind, like it just stopped. I saw my nephew coming over. He lives with my father. And I asked him, I said, where's my dad? He said he's under the step. He's under the step. Because I saw the house roof. It's gone. So I went over and I found him under the step in a raincoat. I look over to my left and there's the Justice of Peace, Dennis. He has a guest house. It's a 3-story building. And I waved my hand to him and I said, and he told me, he said, come across, come across. So I took my father, along with my wife and my daughter, and took him over to Dennis. I know now because there's no one else in there who's going to respond to what's happening. I decided I'm going to go out and find a nurse. And we start looking around for persons who get injured and stuff like that. I sent out my auxiliary officers. I said, going around, check these houses, check the shelters to make sure that everyone is okay. We found one guy who galvanized actually damaged. He had a big cut across his head. Took him to the clinic, and I was there holding his skin together while the nurse was doing all the stitches and stuff like that. Was there for like half an hour or so. He was bleeding out, and then I was helping out. And I said, nurse, I gotta leave and I gotta go and see if I can help other persons. Luckily, we went around and no one else was injured. Well, one person was injured, but not as bad. And I tried to make phone calls. Phone wasn't working. He wasn't getting any internet whatsoever. So I know I had some VHF radios. I said we gotta go back to old time
Back
days
to
now,
basics.
yeah. So I started using the radio and start making calls, and I end up and get on to the Coast Guard in Cain, which luckily was good. And I told them this is what happening on the island now. We need some assistance. There's someone says people here who's injured and they need to find medical as soon as possible. When I look around on the island, I was like, is this Myro? Is this the island that I saw 4 hours before? Because everything looks so different. It's like just garbage.
Okay.
We have like about 108 houses on the island, and only 6 of those houses had roof on. And it makes you think about life differently now. It's like you look at life in a sense of you work so hard to try and build so much things, and then in 4 hours, everything was gone. Everything was gone. And Beryl made me realize that you have to look at life differently. You have to appreciate what you have,
Appreciate.
and you have to focus. Because somehow I don't think I was scared. What made me scared in a kind of way is when my daughter look at me and look at my mom and said, "Mommy, is just going to die?"
Oh,
And
Lord.
kind of like, jeez. And I'm looking at that my roof start going piece by piece by piece by piece. And I'm looking, there's an outside toilet that built of blocks. I'm saying, if we have to move, we have to go into that toilet. But between that gap, it's just galvanized. And there's nails and stuff like that. And then you're thinking, boy, if I go out there, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But somehow the wind just dropped. And then the GP called me and said to come over and you can stay there. So I spent 2 nights there. But
Okay.
from that time to a week ago, I was up and down trying to help people. Everyone just keep calling my phone, calling the radio. Okay, we have aids to bring in. We need you to collect this. We need to do this and stuff. So I was like really, 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 really busy. I wasn't even studying my home, to be honest. I've lost everything. I had a boat with a 200 horsepower on it. I haven't seen a boat to this day. Beryl, the boat was on inland. And Beryl pick up that boat. It just vanished. My house is gone. My business space is gone. It just disappeared like that. And if also wants to get some information again, say there's a storm is coming and prepare for it. I don't know.
And you come to the mainland?
Of the mainland,
Yeah, no.
might dig a hole.
Let me ask you, you've witnessed devastation personally. You've still had to go out and, perform duties. Salt Whistle Bay. How did it feel How long did it take for you to observe the difference at Salt Whistle Bay?
When I went to Salt Whistle Bay, it was looking completely different. It looks like Salt Whistle Bay back in the 80s or in the 70s. It was different. All the restaurants were there, just gone. And when you look and you see where the island split in two, it's like, wow. The island actually split in two, so we had two islands. I was like,
Is it still like that now, or has
no, I think a few days ago, Kelly Glass and his contractors went down and they actually fixed back that area.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, but I have photos and videos of it. Well, it was, yeah.
that's crazy.
All right, so Mr. Wright. Okay, so we need to take an ad break. All right, let's take the ad break quickly, and then Mr. Wright, you would let us know how you've been balancing your own personal challenges with your professional obligations. All right, so let's quickly take a break at this time.
Do you want to feel clean, refreshed after using the bathroom, whether at home, work, or play? Welcome to My Smart Toilet Seat. All of our products wash your private parts after using the bathroom without the use of your hands. What our national table tennis champion, Dianna Dublin, has to say.
I tried it and it works. There are 4 options. Simply add an attachment to your existing toilet seat, or choose a non-electric seat, or better, an electric seat that washes and dries you with warm water and air. Lastly, get a complete smart toilet that also flushes itself. What are you waiting for? Get your smart toilet seat today. Be smart, be refreshed, be clean, be a winner like me.
Our smart toilet seat is available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. You can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website at justwashit.vc.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry. We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our peaceful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business. Yeah. Live it, love it, embrace it.
That's the sound of your animals. Strong, healthy, and delivering yields you love. That didn't just happen. It began with you feeding them only the best. East Caribbean Feeds. Rest assured, we only produce your feeds with premium ingredients, no hormones, no animal byproducts, just everything your animal needs for maximum nutrition. Because your animals deserve only the best. East Caribbean Feeds from Maximum Nutrition.
ECGC has slashed feed prices by 8 to 10%. Check your local supplier for more details. ECGC, providers of feed for maximum nutrition.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves will hold consultations with persons from Union Island who were affected by the passage of Hurricane Beryl this Wednesday, July 24th, at the Methodist Church Hall, Kingstown from 3 p.m. and Thursday, July 25th, Clifton, Union Island from 1 p.m. Persons who evacuated Union Island and are in shelters and private homes on the mainland are invited to attend on Wednesday, and everyone in Union Island is invited to attend on Thursday. The consultations will address the government's response to the disaster, relief, recovery, and reconstruction, and the scheduled reopening of schools in September. This is a public service announcement in conjunction with this radio station.
Cloud9 wants you to know that they're having their biggest sale ever. Save between 50 to 80% on everything store-wide. Shoes and clothing for the whole family, toys, household items, swimwear, and more. Don't miss out on this crazy sale. Everything must go. What are you waiting for? Get it before you miss it. Offer applies while stocks last. Some restrictions apply. Cloud9 is open Mondays to Fridays 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound of the nation.
Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
The world has become such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
All right, welcome back to Activated Mornings. We are in our Cop Chat segment with our topic this morning, Voices of Survival, First Responders Accounts of Hurricane Beryl. Along with myself, Roleza, and Christal, we have in studio Mr. Owen Isaacs, a leading seaman in the SVG Coast Guard. On the live as well, we have Mr. David Wright, a corporal of police, and Nurse Foxy Compton. So we're going to jump right back into the discussion, and we posed the question to Mr. Wright before. So Mr. Wright, how have you been balancing dealing with your personal issues, your personal life, as well as the work of your police duties? How have you been balancing that?
Okay, great question. Now, let me backtrack a bit with Ellis Isaacs. It was, you hear Ellis Isaacs said 4 hours. It was actually the 4 longest hours that one would spend in their life. And if you're not trained to stand for that long in one place, I know it will be trouble. But we had to stand in that room for 4 hours non-stop. When the station started falling apart in Union Island, you were hearing everything. Whether it's concrete that was being broken or the rafters in the roof that were being ripped out and everything, you were hearing everything, and the building was rumbling as if it was going to come down on you. At one time, when the concrete slab started falling in, the room literally shook, and all of us, we could not even say anything to each other more than everybody just look at each other and let the eyes do the talking. And the sergeant from RRU who was present there, he held on to the bathroom door and he turned to the other guys present. He said, "Gentlemen, I don't know if you all just pray now. I don't know if you all know how to pray. But the only thing I could tell all you to do now is pray, because only God alone could save we." Even before he had said that, I had set myself to pray, because one has to become aware of his or her own mortality when you reach in those situations. The first thing you have to become aware of is your own mortality, and that you have to meet a God to give an account. So you look at your own mortality and you try to make yourself right before God. Whether he's real or fictional, we don't know, but most of us believe that he's real. I believe he's real. So I had to do that. And I started praying for everybody who was present. I prayed for my family that is on the mainland because I'm from the mainland, right? And when we managed to peep on the outside, and I started to see the type of destruction that was out there, I called the other guys to have a little peep, and somehow I started looking up to see my roof, and that's when I saw the station's whole roof was gone. By the time the winds died down, that we were able to manage it, the guys were ready. All of the RRU officers, even my officer who was working as my station orderly, he forgot about station order because there is nothing you can do in your diary at this moment because of the amount of water going on and the state of the destruction on the island. So they quickly change over in whatever they could change over, if it's short pants or what, because you couldn't find any clothes either. I had to stay for 24 hours in the one suit that I had on the morning. It was the Tuesday after we got to wash, and God bless us with some sunshine to dry our clothes, that we got change of clothes and so on, because everything went got wet and dirtied in the storm. But those guys, they were tremendous. Before they went outside, they said, Corporal Wright, God was good to us, and he answered our prayer. Before we go out there to help other people, it is only right that we return thanks to God. And I led them in a prayer of thanksgiving and thanking Almighty God for his mercy and his grace in our lives. And then they set out, along with Mr. Kenneth, the head of Braxa on the island in Union Island. They set out to assist the people. You could not have drive on Union Island. Well, let me say 99% of the electrical poles were either broken in 2, 3, or they were toppled. So they were lines strewn all over. But the good thing is that there was no power in the lines. They had discontinued power supply before the hurricane. So Kenneth went around with the big snips and he started cutting these lines so that they can get a clearance. And as fast as the police walked with Kenneth, then the transport went and they drove and so on. And then we started getting reports of certain casualties. And the police had to assist in transporting. I, being the station officer, I stayed back at the station to ensure that the government stuff at the station was secured. Okay. My men, the RRU, even the female officers, they went out with the RRU and they did a Herculean effort. Notwithstanding that, even after they finish helping all these persons, when reality set in and they have to return back to the base, there was nowhere for us to lay our heads for the night. And as a soldier, you're trained to serve others, and then you think of yourself. So you make sure that the other persons out there were good, and then you deal with your own realities. When we look, Mary Hutchinson Primary School was our closest neighbor. 90% of that school was destroyed. But one of the guys say, but we have the school keys. It looked like a room is standing over there. So let's go over there and check to see if that room has on galvanized and if we could bunk out there for the night. And that's what they did. They came back and reported that, yes, the room is okay. And so we sat on these hard chairs for the night everybody in one room, the 9 of us in one room, and no power, no water, nothing. We just wanted to rest. Some of us went to sleep in wet clothes. You only can take off your shoes and your socks, and you just not think about the damn clothes. You just had to sleep. But it was one of the longest nights because no, and you fall asleep early thinking it's late. Then you wake up back in the middle of the night, and then everything for the past they start replaying in your mind. And if I tell you, I don't know if Ellis Isaacs and Nos Compton is experiencing it, but from time to time, in coming back to mind as to what we went through, it chokes me up. It chokes me up. Even while walking on the island to do my exercise, whether on a morning or on an afternoon. You know, at first I used to walk and I used to take certain pictures and so on of the valley and the mountainscape and so on. And after the hurricane, and I get to walk at those same roads, it's totally not the same place. Union Island was like paradise. It's totally not the same place. Everything is gone. And you wonder, as Isaac said, you work a lifetime to accumulate certain things to make yourself comfortable in life. And then within a blinking of an eye, everything is ripped out from under you. And you don't know. And I saw that like a state of hopelessness in some person's eyes. It's like up to now, because I came home on Tuesday. It's like up to just before I left, there were some persons who still don't know where to start to clean up from. Everything is just like stopping time, you know. But God is good. There are a lot of resilient persons down there, and they have bent their minds to rebuild and to rebuild better. Yes, Nurse Compton speaks about counseling. From our point of view, from the police point of view, things have been put in place so that the officers who were present on island during the passage of the hurricane, they can seek psychosocial counseling from the necessary professionals. So hopefully soon, my officers and I would be getting that sort of assistance so that we can bring some sort of closure to the traumatic experiences that we would have had. I am telling you, it was one traumatic. Traumatic is not even the strongest of words that you can describe what we went through with Beryl. Trust me. Trust me.
All right. Well,
Just the
I'm
sound
glad
alone
that.
playing back in your ears, mad you.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned
Yes,
about
go ahead.
psychosocial support, because I was just about to say, I've heard your accounts, we've heard your accounts, we've heard accounts before, we've seen articles, we've seen videos, and I cannot imagine what it is like to have gone through that. I still can't imagine with all the information that I've been given. So my next question is, how have you each been taking care of yourself, your mental health? So the officer mentioned that psychosocial support is going to take place. So what have you been doing for yourself personally? Because you had to deal with your own personal issues and still go out there and face the devastation and walk in that. So anyone can begin.
Isaacs.
Yeah, well, I've been taking things step at a time. Going back to my house to see what's actually happening there is like I try to start doing some cleaning, and somehow I just pause. I can't really craft myself to say, boy, everything is gone. But you have to face it. It's reality. It's life. You got to move on somehow. And I think God has given me that strength, that extra strength to say, Isaac, you still have life. Your family is okay, and you can do this again. I've spared your life. I've spared your family life for a reason. And you're still here. You're still focused, and you're gonna make it still. So I still have that strong hope and that support that I am gonna make it, and we're gonna pull through this. I'm not gonna sit down and cry and stuff like that because.
But you don't know if you need to. You could just let it out, let it out, and then get back. Yeah.
I know what you're saying. It is. Yeah, I can feel like I want to cry, but it's just it's tears that come. I think reality never really hit me as hard as yet to know that.
Okay.
It will take some time.
Maybe when you start to rebuild, you're on the road to recovery, and you start to rebuild, then the tears will start to fall.
Yeah. I felt it more when my doctor looked at me and said, "This is how we're gonna." That kind of stick in my head and just keep playing. And as the corporal said, you lie down at night and you hear rain start coming, and then the wind is blowing. You start looking around. It's like, what does that mean here? So you have that kind of fear inside you still. It's like, is this another Beryl is gonna come?
Trigger.
And it just keeps triggering off. You hear rain start coming heavy, the wind start blowing heavy, and you start. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's take another quick ad break. We're only playing 2 right now. We'll be right back with the wrap up of today's Cop Chat. All right. So we'll be back very shortly.
At Lynch Caribbean, yes, we offer comprehensive insurance solutions and broking, but we are more than an insurance broker. We drill down to your core business strategy. We keep a pulse on risk to keep your operations healthy.
On your mark, get set.
Along the way, helping you to drive competitive advantages. At Lynch Caribbean, we have your back. Contact us today for insurance solutions, strategic risk advisory, and more. Call 453-3300. Email info@lynchcaribbean.com or visit our office in Beachmont, Kingstown. Follow Lynch Caribbean SVG on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, or visit www.lynchcaribbean.com.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound of the nation.
Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
The world has become such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
And we are back with Cop Chat. We are nearing the end. Here having a discussion about first responders accounts of Hurricane Beryl. We have 2 officers and a nurse. And before we took a break, the question was, how have you been protecting yourself mentally or looking after yourself mentally, having to deal with your own issues, your own problems, and the problems of the people around you, the people that you are helping? So we had Officer Isaac's response. Officer Wright and Nurse Compton.
All right, and in this, because it's our final 5 minutes for the program, you can also big up who you need to big up in this part of it as well, too, right? All right, so Nurse Compton.
All right. So, yes, please.
Okay, so I go.
How am I coping?
Okay.
I don't even know how I'm coping. That's the truth. Because like Isaac says, every time I go back to the house, it's sad, it's depressing. So all I've got to do there, all I get done really, is to get out some of the clothes, throw away what needs to be thrown away. And I don't know, Beryl, for some reason or the other, after 2 days, that wetness, everything is mold and all sorts of other things. I don't know. Beryl is a special case by itself. You know, I have to deal with my children because they experience it too. It's their first. And, you know, I remember sitting there and praying, Lord, don't make the roof go. And then as soon as I say amen, it went. And water was pouring in and we were standing in there in all of that water. And my oldest son was like, Mommy, can we just run to the police station because we are next to the police station? But when you look at the galvanized and the lines that are flying outside, I said, no, we can't move. The only thing we have to do is bear the rain. It is better to be wet and alive than to be dry and dead.
Point. All right, so Nurse Compton has dropped out. So Mr. Wright, you can go ahead. Corporal Wright, you can go ahead. Corporal Wright? Or I think there might be a delay. Yeah, I think there's might be a delay. All right, so Ellis Isaacs, you could yeah, it seems that way. You can go ahead and big up who you need to big up in this time. Wait, Corporal Wright, are you back with us? Corporal Wright, are you hearing us?
Doesn't seem that way. Go ahead.
Okay, it was just refreshing a while ago there. The screen was just refreshing, so I wasn't hearing. Okay. All right. How am I coping? To be honest, I am not scared to cry. Because it settles me. So when I go on walks and I see the total devastation, if the water has to flow from my eyes, I let it flow. Immediately passing Beryl, it took me 72 hours to be able to find out anything about my family because there was no network. And so I was basically locked down in Ashton, taking care of the station business. When I finally got on to my wife, the only thing that I could have done was to cry. Okay? The only thing that I could have done was to cry. And I called each of my children and I told them how much I love them and so on. And somehow God blessed me because the same day, the deputy commissioner came on island with the Coast Guard and he met me on duty in the front of the island at Bougainville. And he asked me, he said, Corporal Wright, how are you? I said, I'm fine, sir. He said, how are you? I know you're fine, but how are you keeping up? I said, I am emotionally drained. And he said, you know what? Say nothing more. Go pack your bag. You're going up with me on the Coast Guard tonight. And so I came home to my family and each of them greeted me. My wife welcomed me with open arms and she hugged me and both of us cried for like half an hour. Isaac, I don't know if you know what that feels like, but trust me, it's when you lay bare It's when you lay yourself bare as a human, yes. Most times people see men as rough and tough, and nobody should see you cry. But it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. So since then, I go back to work. Okay. When I'm on island, I go out. I don't lock away myself from the destruction. I go out. The more I interface with the people, the more I interface in the communities, and to see the reality of the situation, the more you come to grips and accept the facts. Because I will tell you guys, and Isaac will tell you, no picture that you would see online or anybody will send to you guys, no picture will ever give you a true taste of what is the reality down there. Yeah, they are not being doctored, yes, but when you step foot on these islands and you see with your own eyes and you feel it, it's a totally different emotional dilemma. But God is good. That's what I always say. And He will give us the strength to go on because we have to do the job. We have to do the job, right? In terms of bigging up, right now, I would like to big up the other team that is on duty, headed by Sergeant Collins. Those guys are around there. They're carrying out the duties right now, even as my team is off and getting some much needed rest. Guys, you all just go out there and put your best foot forward, help the people, and at the end of the day, to see the people smile is more than rewarding for us. I want to big up my family, my wife, my children. I believe my mom in Trinidad, she's looking on, or she will view the program later. Right? And just everybody, my extended family, those in the United States, Canada, England, because I know they're going to share the video. So just big up everybody and put God first. And guys, don't ever take a hurricane for granted. Don't ever take a hurricane for granted. Don't. When you hear there's a hurricane on the way, start to make preparations now. Start to make preparations now. You can make preparations. It's better you start to make preparations than make none at all. Because if you make none at all, there's the possibility that it can hit you harder than if you had made preparations. Because fatality can be one of the end results. So don't ever take a hurricane for granted. And with that, thank you guys for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Corporal, right. I'm sure you will support me on this. If I tell you that Hurricane Beryl, it seems as though this storm itself was a hurricane, a tornado, and an earthquake. You don't believe that?
There's a delay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
I
shaking his
concur
head.
100%. I
Okay,
agree,
so
100%.
I would like to big up persons on my island, Nurse Grisha, the police officers, Alexander, both Alexanders, Douglas, Corporal Ford, P.O. Isaacs, my sister Marian Isaacs, and you guys are down there doing a very, very best job out, trying to keep things in place, trying to make sure everything go according to plan. All the justice of peace on the island, the nurses, the police. Just want to big you guys up. Want to big up my family, my mother, my wife, my children, for supporting and being there for me. My father, all my brothers and sisters out there. Thanks you guys thanks for the support and for giving me that courage and pushing me and telling me to keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you.
All right, and this is today's edition of Cop Chat. Feels like it's a bit of a heavy one, but still, it's been one of those stories that we needed to hear, the first-hand account from persons who witnessed the passage of Hurricane Beryl itself, themselves, and the recovery efforts. I think one of the things that I'm gathering as well, that I didn't hear come out, but that I'm gathering is a sense of togetherness in getting things back in place. That sense of community that is also coming through to rebuild in the rebuilding efforts. All right, so we are here at WEFM and all the listeners. We are wishing you guys all the very best. It's going to be a long journey towards recovery, but in the words of Ellis Isaacs, he has the hope, he has the faith, and he's motivated to keep going. All right. So thank you guys very much for being here, joining us this morning on today's Cough Chat.
And Lady.
We had, So join us today on today's Cough Chat. We had leading seaman Owen Isaacs, Corporal of Police Mr. David Wright, and Miss Foxy Compton. She's a nurse. They represented their islands, Canoan, Maro, and Union Island, in talking about Voices of Survival, First Responders account of Hurricane Beryl. And that was today's Cop Chat for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and for persons, you guys, for joining us this morning. All right? Take care and all the best.
WEFM is SVG.